Okay, so you've heard the name a million times, right? Bitcoin. It's been called everything from the future of money to, well, a huge digital gamble. But what is it really? Beyond all the hype and the crazy headlines, how could it possibly work without a single bank or government calling the shots? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. To really wrap your head around Bitcoin, you've got to start with this question. I mean, think about it for a second. Most of your money is already just a number on a screen, and it's completely controlled by a bank. You're trusting them, right? Trusting them to keep it safe, to move it where you want it to go. But what if you didn't have to trust anyone at all? And this, right here, this really gets to the heart of it. On the left, that's the system we all know and use every day. A central bank, or some institution, controls the master list of who owns what. They're the gatekeeper. But on the right, that's Bitcoin's world. It's a shared public ledger that's copied and updated by literally everyone on the network. No one person, no single company is in charge. All right, so with that key idea, decentralization locked in, let's pull back the curtain on Bitcoin itself. I mean, where did this totally radical idea even come from? The story kicks off in 2008, right when trust in the whole global financial system was just cratering. And then, kind of out of nowhere, this mysterious person, or maybe a group of people, using the name Satoshi Nakamoto, publishes a paper online. It was basically a blueprint for a brand new kind of digital money, one that didn't need the very banks that were failing. And then, poof, they vanished just as mysteriously as they appeared. It's still one of the biggest mysteries in tech today. So let's be super clear here. When we talk about Bitcoin, we're talking about something that exists only as data. There are no physical coins you can hold in your hand. It's a currency that is built entirely on code, run by its users, and it was specifically designed to operate outside the control of any government or financial institution. But you've got to be asking, how can money even exist without a bank keeping track of it all? Well, the answer is the absolute genius invention at its core, the blockchain. This is the technology, the engine that makes this whole thing possible. This quote just nails it perfectly. The blockchain is, at its heart, a giant public book of accounts. Think of it like a Google Doc that has a record of every single Bitcoin transaction ever made. But, and this is the key, instead of it being stored in one place, thousands of identical copies are held on computers all over the world, and they're all constantly updating in perfect sync. So how does your transaction actually get into this shared book? Well, first, it gets bundled up with a bunch of other recent transactions into something called a block. Think of this block as a brand new page for the ledger. That page is then sealed with a unique digital fingerprint, a hash. And if even a single comma changes on that page, the whole fingerprint changes. Then, a massive global network of computers all race to solve a really hard math puzzle to prove this new page is legitimate. And the first one to solve it, they get to add the page to the book, linking it forever to the page before it, creating a chain.
And that is the security magic of the blockchain. If a hacker wanted to change a past transaction, they couldn't just change one file on one computer. No way. They'd have to somehow hack and change the records on thousands of computers all over the world, all at the same time. It's basically a digital fortress whose walls are built out of complete transparency. Okay, so the network is secure, we get that. But if there are no central banks printing new money, where do new bitcoins even come from? This is where we get to mining. Those computers that are racing to solve those puzzles, they're run by people we call miners. You can think of it as this huge non-stop lottery. For putting up all their computing power and paying those massive electricity bills, the first miner to solve that puzzle gets a reward, a batch of brand new Bitcoin. And this is so clever, because mining does two jobs at once. It's how new coins are minted, and it's the very process that keeps the entire network secure and verified.
But Satoshi didn't just build the technology. They created a whole new kind of economic policy and wrote it directly into the code. Bitcoin was launched with a set of core rules that are, for all practical purposes, impossible to change. And the most important rule of all is its finite supply. You see, unlike government money, which can basically be printed forever, there is a hard cap on Bitcoin. They will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, period. That scarcity is absolutely fundamental to its design. And that scarcity is locked in by a pre-programmed event called the halving. Roughly every 4 years, the reward that miners get for adding a new block gets automatically chopped in half. This means the supply of new Bitcoin coming into the world slows down on a very predictable schedule, which makes the whole system naturally resistant to inflation. So you take this incredible technology, you add this programmed scarcity,
And what do you get? Well, you get one of the biggest, fiercest debates in modern finance. Is Bitcoin a revolutionary new kind of investment, or is it just a high-stakes gamble?
Yeah, and for the gamble side of the argument, this is Exhibit A. The price volatility is just wild. Bitcoin's value has gone on these incredible runs, hitting unbelievable highs, only to come crashing down dramatically right after. That extreme instability makes it a really, really risky asset. But then, on the other side of the debate, you have the supporters who see a totally revolutionary tool. They call it digital gold, something that can protect your savings from inflation because no government can just decide to print more of it. They see it as a way to zap money across the globe in minutes, not days, and a way to bring financial services to billions of people who don't have access to traditional banks. But you absolutely can't ignore the risks. I mean, beyond the crazy price swings, there's the huge amount of energy that mining uses, the total uncertainty about what governments might do in the future, and a core feature that can also be a huge problem: transactions are irreversible. If you make a mistake, send it to the wrong person, there's no customer service line you can call. It's just gone.
So after looking at the tech, the rules, the whole debate, what's the big picture here? What's the main takeaway?
At the end of the day, Bitcoin is so much more than just digital money. It's a profound experiment both technologically and socially. For the very first time in history, it gives us a real alternative and asks a really deep question. Is our trust better placed in human institutions or in math and open source code?
And that, right there, is the question at the very heart of the Bitcoin story. Is this a blueprint for the future of finance, built on code and open to everyone? Or is it a fascinating, but maybe ultimately unsustainable experiment? The final chapter for this is still being written. Thanks for tuning in.